As the sun begins to rise on this cold, rainy Australian morning, Manchester United have just got done absolutely destroying Aston Villa in what was a very, very entertaining game to watch. Now, keep in mind, there are always going to be controversies, and we will, as an honest Manchester United fan, we will get into these controversies and give what I think about it. But of course, everybody has their own opinions, and let's see what I think about this Manchester United versus Aston Villa game. What's up, everybody? It's the Aidan Sports Show, and welcome back to another video. This is obviously, as I said before, is going to be a Manchester United versus Aston Villa 3-0 match review reaction, where I will go through the goals, I'll give my player ratings, the Ollie's rating, team performance, and give my opinions on the game. So, of course, another victory for Manchester United. We seem to be on an incredible roll. Players are finding their form. I think this is probably the best performance I've seen out of our team. I know we scored 5 last week, but I genuinely thought this was a much better performance from every single person on that pitch tonight. So before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel. Turn notifications on, share the video, share the playlist, and let me know in the comments below who your man of the match was. That's what I want to know for this week's game. Who was the man of the match? And let me know why they were the man of the match. Of course, I will give my man of the match at the close to the end of the video, not towards the very end. So without further ado, guys, let's get into it. So let's go into the goals first. So the first goal was a very controversial penalty. A penalty that, in my opinion, should have never ever been given. And if anything, it was probably considered a free kick against Bruno Fernandes. And look, you have to be honest. Manchester United have a lot of penalties, right? And that's because of our pace. The amount of pace that we have in our forward line and midfield is very lightning quick. It's striking, and players will make mistakes when they verse us because of how quick our players are. So most of those penalties are rightfully deserved, but unfortunately this one was just not deserved. I don't think anybody can even agree that that penalty should have been given. I don't see how VAR didn't overturn it. I don't see how the penalty was given in the first place, and I think nearly every Manchester United fan would probably agree that that is not a penalty, and that's each to their own. Obviously, the people that agree it's a penalty, hey man, you ended up being right. They didn't let up. They didn't reverse the decision, and the goal was scored by Bruno Fernandes. Comfortable goal for Bruno Fernandes. It seems like he doesn't miss penalties, man, and I don't think he has so far. He's been absolutely superb, and again, it just shows that a proper penalty taker can really change Manchester United, especially for how many penalties we actually get this entire season. So that's the controversy in the nutshell there. That changed the game. That changed the way Aston Villa played. That changed how they had to treat this game. And in the end, that benefited Manchester United. So even though it probably shouldn't have been a penalty, probably shouldn't have been a 1-0 goal, of course, as a Man United fan, aiming and striving for a top 4 position, I will happily take the penalty. I'm just being honestly, like, it's good to win when things actually are deservingly, but that, even though the goal wasn't deserved, the actual performance and victory was deserved. So in the end, it's not, for me, it's not a bad thing to get a penalty. So that's truly what I think. I would have taken the penalty. I was happy with the penalty, but it's not a penalty, and it should have never been called a penalty. But obviously, if your team's benefiting from it, I don't think many people would complain. They would say it's not a penalty, but they're not going to complain that it is. Anyway, I've gone too much into this topic. We'll move on to the second goal. And the second goal was a absolute beauty from Mason Greenwood. Counter-attacking football once again. Manchester United have multiple ways of playing now. We can play from set pieces, we can play from possession, and we can play from the counter-attack. And all 3 goals really exemplified the different ways we can play. So the first goal was obviously we had the possession for the majority, and we got a penalty out of it. The second goal was counter-attacking, ended up going to Mason Greenwood on the run. Quick pass to Martial. Martial passes it right back to Greenwood. Greenwood takes a good cheeky run, bends it away. Mings, who honestly, from me, if you don't know Mings from Aston Villa, had an absolute mare of a game. It was a terrible game from him. I think he was by far the worst player on the pitch. He didn't come up to Mason Greenwood to try and block the shot. Gave Mason Greenwood a very good long shot, and of course, the clinical shooter that Mason Greenwood is, he went with his right, he took it, and it was a fantastic goal. Probably the best goal of the game by far. you could argue that the third goal was better, but just for me, the way that it was taken, the ability, the skill, and the actual willingness to go and shoot, honestly, for me, that goal takes the cake for me. But the third goal is equally as good, in my opinion. The third goal came from a set piece. Bruno Fernandes actually calling Paul Pogba. This, you could clearly tell, was worked on the training pitch. Paul Pogba not even looking at the ball, but he knows exactly what's going to happen. He turns around, he gets the ball from the corner. The corner wasn't hit into the box. It was hit just to the outside of the box. Pogba, who almost looked like he took too many touches, ended up actually controlling the ball and bending around Jack Grealish and bending it past the goals. And yeah, look, it's an absolute beauty of a goal, and that was the third goal. And Manchester United take a comfortable 3-0 lead going into the next game. And again, we keep on winning. There's obviously some record that we've broken tonight. 3 goals, 4 matches in a row where we've kept a clean sheet and won 3 goals. We're the only team in Premier League history to do that, I believe. So congratulations to everybody involved in that game. I mean, everybody's pulling their weight, and I feel like this game was probably the best that I've seen. And I feel like I'm going to say that every game, but it just feels consistently better. And maybe it's the consistency that makes me so happy, because it's not that we're not performing. We're performing and we're winning. And that's the best. That's all you can want from a team. You want your team to perform to the best of their abilities, and you want your team to win. Those are the 2 things that I want from my team, and that's what I'm getting at the moment. So this entire Manchester United hot streak could be a rather consistent way of playing, and maybe this isn't just a fluke anymore. Anyway, I'm not going to go into that. Obviously, you're going to have fans from Arsenal to Liverpool to Man City to Chelsea to Tottenham saying that this is a fluke or that they're not actually as good as this run of form would state. Either way, as a United fan, as a person trying to get a goal, as a Manchester United team trying to aim for top 4, hot streak of form, if this is not how we really play next season, whatever, at the moment it's working for us, and that's all I'm focused on. I'm focused on Aston Villa. Now I'm focused on the next game. I believe it's against Southampton. So these are the games that I'm focused on. Anyway, let's go to the player ratings. I'm going to try and keep these player ratings short and sweet, because I think everybody deserves a fair share of gratitude in this game. So, goalkeeper David De Gea, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. Nothing really to do. I would give him an average. Actually, I am going to give him an average 6 out of 10, to be honest. I'm going to switch it, because the pass he did to Lindelof was one of the worst passes I've seen from a goalkeeper, and it nearly cost us if Lindelof was not as calm as he was. And that's nitpicking, but at the end of the day, when the goalkeeper doesn't have that much to do, if anything to do at all, you need to nitpick. And I'm going to nitpick David De Gea, and that pass was not a good pass. In the end, nothing came from it, and comfortably nothing came from it. But that could have, if that was any other team, if that was a Man City, the way that they press, or Liverpool, something could have really happened from that pass. So in the end, that's something I'm going to have to take points away from David De Gea. So originally, it would have been a 7, but I'm going to move it to a 6. And Wan-Bissaka. Now, usually I'm giving either Wan-Bissaka a 7 or an 8 out of 10, and I'm going to give him a 7. But actually, no, I'm going to change my mind. I need to be a little bit more ruthless. I'm going to give Aaron Wan-Bissaka a 6. Obviously, he had a good shot on goal that wasn't on target. But besides that, his tackles seemed to be off. He was always out of position when the crosses came in. They targeted Wan-Bissaka tonight from crosses, because they know that he always cuts in. And in the end, he was missing opportunities to go and win headers from away. Jack Grealish could have scored an absolute fantastic, sensational goal, because Wan-Bissaka was just not in the right position to clear it away. In the end, these are things that Wan-Bissaka needs to work on. Defensively, tackling-wise, he's second to none. But I feel like sometimes positionally, he's a little bit inconsistent in where his position should be, and that costs us sometimes. If that was any other team, we probably would have conceded, because Wan-Bissaka was out of position from across. They targeted it, and now I feel like more teams are going to have to target that just to get a weakness out of us. And look, defensively, we were perfect, to be honest, but I think Wan-Bissaka just didn't have a great game. So I think 6 is fair. If you guys think I'm being too harsh again, please let me know. I just don't know what level to go. I don't know if I should be harsh or if I should be lenient. I don't know where I'm just going based on my heart, really. Like, I'm even conflicted sometimes in myself. My ruthless type and then my lenient type are clashing together. So that's why I both times right now I've given a different prediction. Victor Lindelof, however, I thought was the best defender or the best centre-back by far tonight. I'm giving Victor Lindelof an 8 out of 10. I thought Victor Lindelof was sensational. And it's not necessarily the defensive side, because again, when Aston Villa had that fury in the first 20 minutes, Victor Lindelof was clearing everything away, alongside with Harry Maguire, to be fair. But it's more of the offensive side. Victor Lindelof is actually willing to go forward. When we were playing so slow at the start, when we were playing so stagnant, just passing left, right, and centre, trying to slow things down, trying to get Aston Villa to calm down, to tire out, Victor Lindelof was the only one that was actually trying to get a pass forward, that was pushing forward. He made runs in the second half. He was doing offensive things that I just didn't see Harry Maguire doing today. And in a game like this where majority of the time, Aston Villa were nowhere near the goals, you want your centre-backs to maybe get a little bit involved in the play in the midfield and in the forward line. And unfortunately for Harry Maguire, that wasn't his time tonight. But but Victor Lindelof, I thought, was superb. So by saying this, obviously, as I said, Victor Lindelof was the best centre-back tonight. Harry Maguire is going to get a 7 out of 10. Again, didn't put a foot wrong. I just didn't really notice Harry Maguire as much as I usually do. He didn't win many headers. He didn't really do anything special in the game. He did all the right things. And in the end, that's all you can ask for from a centre-back that's not actually defending as much in the game. And fair play for Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof. Again, another game, another successful clean sheet. And these two are the main causes of this clean sheet alongside with De Gea. These two are the defending. They're defending well, they're passing well, they're playing offensively as well. So in the end, it's all positives for Manchester United in the back line. And Luke Shaw was by far the best defender, in my opinion, today, with an 8 out of 10. Victor Lindelof was very, very close, but in the end, just there wasn't enough to say that Victor Lindelof was better. I thought Luke Shaw was sensational. For everybody that says that Luke Shaw can't cross or can't get an assist, in the end, man, Bruno could have easily got him an assist and shut everybody up. Now no one's ever going to remember that cross because it's just going to be the whole the stereotype that Luke Shaw can't cross a ball, Luke Shaw doesn't get assists. I'm sorry, man, but Luke Shaw had so many crosses into the box that could have easily been gotten into by a player, and either off target, especially in Bruno's case, or just no one's there. And you can't put all of that on Luke Shaw. And I'm sorry for people that have this agenda against Luke Shaw, but I'm telling you now, that should have been an assist for Luke Shaw. That should have been an assist. Manchester United could have easily won this game 5-6-0, but missed opportunities ended up costing Luke Shaw an assist, costing everybody that actually rates Luke Shaw a right to brag. But in the end, his performance speaks for himself. I don't think there's any person that could say Luke Shaw had a bad game. And you could say he was average. A very, very small percentage of people will say that he's average, but I think majority of the Manchester United fans will say he had a fantastic game tonight. And I think 8 out of 10 is rightfully fair in my eyes. Now, Nemanja Matic, moving on into the midfield. Nemanja Matic, in my personal opinion, was spot on. But again, you don't notice Nemanja Matic because he's doing his job so well. He's doing all the dirty work. And since Manchester United were a beautiful attacking force tonight, Nemanja Matic was kind of left out of the conversation. So just because of that, I'm going to give him a 7.5 out of 10. I'm not going to give him an 8 because I don't think he was that prevalent in the game. But I am going to give him a 7.5 because he does the dirty work. He covers for players that wants to have a move forward. He does the right passes. He had a very bad turnover, which could have potentially been a free kick on him, but that was a bad turnover, and for that, you have to take points. So I think 7.5 is a fair score, in my opinion. Now, going on to the masterclass of the two fantastic midfielders that have a great partnership. So let's go for Paul Pogba first. I thought Paul Pogba had his best game by far in a Manchester United shirt this season. He got his first goal of the Prem in this season, so credit to him. It was a fantastic goal. Again, Paul Pogba has a very good shot on him, and long shot is Paul Pogba's type of shot. He bent it, he showed his quality, and as a Manchester United fan, you don't get much better goals than that, really. A quality midfielder with a quality goal. Can't ask for much more. But besides that, he didn't really do anything wrong. Again, he did have a little bit of a cheap turnover that could have cost, that ended up having Aston Villa hit the post, and David De Gea had a good scream at him there. But besides that, I thought Paul Pogba was sensational. I'm giving him an 8 out of 10. Again, passing-wise, dribbling-wise, he should have got a penalty in the last 10 minutes of the game with Trezeguet's leg just he's not even looking at where the tackle is, and he absolutely just trips Paul Pogba. That should have been a penalty over the first one by far. If the first one wasn't going to be given, that second one definitely should have. So yeah, in the end, I guess it balances itself out. Not really, but still, that could have been a penalty. Bruno Fernandes. In my opinion, guys, I'm giving Bruno Fernandes man of the match. That is my man of the match. So if Bruno Fernandes was your man of the match, like and subscribe and comment that Bruno Fernandes was your man of the match. I want to know if there are any people watching this video that absolutely agree with me, or if you disagree with me and pick another player who I will get into later who probably has another claim at it. Go ahead. But in my opinion, Bruno Fernandes was absolutely sensational. He makes an impact. Of course, the penalty was soft, and in the end, it's still a goal for Bruno Fernandes. But that assist is what you look at and you think world class. That both players were world class, and world class players doing something like that, it's a beautiful sight to see. And it's creativity, man. How many times would you see an Andreas Pereira, a Marcus Rashford, even a Jesse Lingard, or even the likes of a Luke Shaw sometimes, or a Fred, just pass it into the box to the first man? We finally got some creative opportunities there. We finally had people willing to take a risk and to take risky corners, and it ended up working well. Again, it just shows Manchester United can still score from set pieces. People need to properly look at the ways that we play and to know that we can always adapt. And I feel like that is the key. We always need to adapt. We always need to switch things up. And if we can keep making teams second guess what exactly we're going to do, then the more wins like this that we're going to get, the more goals that we're going to score. And that's why I love our front line and I love our midfield duo, our partnerships all around the pitch. The first team at the moment, the starting team, is really blimbering into something special, man. And I'm excited to see what's to come of it in the near future. So, like, if you think Bruno Fernandes was your man of the match, again, there are more candidates. People could say Pogba was man of the match. We're going to go into the attackers now, and we're going to see who out of the attackers could have potentially been man of the match. And also, you could have even said Luke Shaw was man of the match, and I wouldn't complain one single bit. But anyway, moving on, let's go to Marcus Rashford. I think Marcus Rashford, again, had a fantastic game. A goal that was given offside, unfortunately, due to poor Pogba. He looked lively. He made runs, beautiful passes to Luke Shaw, great chemistry between these two players. And he was sensational. So I'm going to give him a 7.5 out of 10. Again, he's not really cracking the 8 for me. I'm not sure if that's because I'm being too harsh on him or just because he didn't really make an impact in the game. Like, he made impactful plays, but he didn't actually get on a score sheet or an assist. I don't know. Maybe that's just my own fault. And if it is, I apologize. If you people think that it's my fault, there's not really much I could do about it. But I'm speaking from the heart, man. So in the end, this is just what I think. It's only one man's opinion. I would love to know yours. So Marcus Rashford gets a 7.5. Anthony Martial, again, Anthony Martial's work ethic is sensational. People call him lazy. People do not watch the same game that I watch. If anybody called Martial lazy this game, I'm calling you out for a liar, or you're clearly not paying attention to the game as much as you should. That I truly think that. I don't think anybody could say that Martial is lazy, man. The work ethic this guy had is the reason we won 3-0. If Martial was as lazy as people claim, then he wouldn't get into positions to make passes to create plays. He wouldn't be in the position to allow Greenwood to get a goal. And he wouldn't be in the position at all to even make Marcus Rashford relevant in the game. Anthony Martial, in my opinion, is the most underrated number 9 in the Premier League. I truly believe that. I think this guy's extremely underrated. The amount of work that he puts in to actually create opportunities, even when he's not necessarily impacted in the play. He made Mings look absolutely dreadful. And that was all Martial. The Greenwood goal made Mings look like one of the worst defenders I've ever seen. Obviously, the turn to begin it, where basically Mings had to drop him, but he still gets up and he continues. Then he can't get to Greenwood. In the end, this is all Martial's doing. So I'm giving Martial an 8 out of 10. I know people might going to say, oh, but how come Rashford did get an 8 out of 10? To be honest, I felt like Martial made more of an impact. That's just me personally. I love the two equally. Of course, Manchester United, my favourite team. These two players are arguably my favourite players. I have a lot of them in this team at the moment. But I just feel like he made such an impact that people are just not either gonna refuse to admit, or they're just gonna not see. And in the end, that's it's your opinion. And if you saw something that I don't, then in the end, I can't say you're wrong. So I hope you guys can agree that maybe I'm not wrong either. I don't know. In the end, I really thought that Martial had a fantastic game. But man, another player that could have even got man of the match was Mason Greenwood. And this guy is turning into a fantastic, borderline unstoppable player. Lethal is the thing that I love to put next to Mason Greenwood's name. I think in the last 4 videos, I've called Mason Greenwood lethal. And he is lethal. Did you see the goal? It's on the replay now. All I need to do is look up and I'm seeing that goal. It's going to be everywhere. Manchester United will not stop tweeting about that for the next week, at least until the next game. That's how good that goal was. That's how good the finish was. That's how good Mason Greenwood was. Again, something that I never actually get into Mason Greenwood. This guy is fast, man. Like, you think Rashford's fast, you think Martial's fast. Greenwood's not far behind these players in terms of pace. And I never really caught on to that until today. This guy is rapid, and people are chasing him, and they can't really get ahead. And obviously, he's not Dan James or Rashford fast, but the guy's quick, man. And that puts him in positions where, again, defenders are fearful. They don't know which way he's going to go. They don't know how fast he's going to go. If he could beat a man, he's also very strong. He gives problems for players. And in the end, I'm so happy that he's finally got his confidence and his run of form, because I feel like everybody believed that he could amount to this type of player. And the guy's 18. Like, I'm older than him, man. I remember the times when I was thinking youth products, and I'm like, man, I'm younger than all these guys. No, man, this guy's younger than me, bro, and he's making a name for himself on one of the biggest stages in Manchester United. I wish fans were there to see how great this young lad is, man. I reckon by the time, if there was fans in this arena, there would be songs made about him. There'd be chants. He'd be like the new Martial when Martial was hitting his run of form, bro. There's gonna be songs all the time. He's gonna add his celebrations in the game and all these things, man. Like, it's a great sight to see. And in my opinion, that's the person that I would put in front with Bruno Fernandes as man of the match. I'm going to give it to Bruno Fernandes because I thought Bruno Fernandes is just everything to this team at the moment. So, and I feel like I've given it to Mason Greenwood twice. Why not give it to Bruno Fernandes this time? So, if you guys thought Mason Greenwood was man of the match, Luke Shaw man of the match, Pogba man of the match, Martial man of the match, there are many, many, many players. And that just shows that the performance tonight from these boys was immaculate. Was absolutely sensational. I'm using big words just because Manchester United had a big performance. And that's the result, man. Now, Ollie's team rating, I mean, you have to give Ollie a 9 out of 10 once again, man. I would say 10 out of 10 maybe with substitutions. I thought the substitutions were good. I wish Pogba got a break instead of Bruno, because I feel like Pogba is the one that just came off of an injury, so I don't think he should be playing all the 90 minutes. And for that reason alone, he gets a 9 out of 10 instead of a 10. And in the end, the team performance was a 9.5 out of 10 as well. I don't think you can ask for a better performance from a side. Of course, it wasn't 4-0 FC, but Aston Villa really had to put damage control. So in the end, Manchester United didn't really have another shot in the second half besides the Pogba goal. And that's fine. In the end, when teams are fearful, they want to reduce the damage caused by them. Obviously, no team wants to lose 4-5, 6-0. So in the end, it's a respectable scoreline. We also kept a clean sheet, which is even more than I predicted. I predicted Aston Villa would score because of the way that I saw them play against Liverpool at Anfield. I suspected that they would come with the same energy, and for the most part, they did. So credit to Aston Villa for the first 20 minutes, but after that, it was all Manchester United, and that's the way that it should be. Manchester United should be dominating relegation sides, and once again, Aston Villa faced relegation. They could potentially get out of it, but in the moment, Manchester United did what they were supposed to do, and we are now 1 point away from top 4 once again. We remain 5th with Leicester City 58, and I believe Chelsea are on 60 at the moment. Correct me if I'm wrong. I might have to take a look at the ladder after this video. Wolves drop points as well. So Manchester United are definitely in place for 5th at the moment at best. At worst, Manchester United will probably finish 5th. but at the best, we could potentially finish third, and anywhere in the top 4 will do for me. I'm not necessarily bothered about third or fourth. Of course, as a team, you'd want to get high as possible. So third is probably the goal for Manchester United. But I'm happy with either, to be honest. I just want to make the Champions League. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for the Manchester United versus Southampton, I believe, or Crystal Palace. It's one of the two, man. Again, I'm doing it a game-by-game basis. So whatever it is, I will be sure to give you a match preview. I'm very, very excited. Every single game that comes brings a lot of nerve and excitement because we're getting so close to the end now. Every game means more than the last. So that's why every time you see a match preview and there's a must-win on red, it's because every game is must-win from here on in. Anyway, again, please like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Turn notifications on, share the video, share the playlist, and help support your boy, man's 2 away from 70 subscribers at this time of recording. Let's see if we can get there, man. Have a wonderful and safe day. Take care and peace.